Department store John Lewis is looking to suppliers to fund additional shop floor colleagues. Selfridges are going all in with a sports theme for the summer, powered by two hot collabs. TikTok are looking to support more companies to scale up their operations on the channel. Labour have won the UK general election, but what's in store for the retail sector over the next 5 years? All of this and much more on this episode of The Retail Show. Welcome to The Retail Show. This is the weekly podcast to help you stay up to speed with the retail sector, be that shops, online, and everything and anything in between. I'm here to bring you useful news with relevant views. My name is Oliver Banks. I'm a retail consultant and advisor, specialising in operating models and transformation. I also host another podcast called The Retail Transformation Show, and I've written a book called Driving Retail Transformation: How to Navigate Disruption and Change. I'm honoured to be recognised as one of the world's most influential voices in the industry, and I appreciate you joining me here for this episode of The Retail Show. As always, we're kicking off with our first segment, News You Can Use. The quick idea is that we're going to cover key news stories and headlines from around the world with a thought-provoking idea or action that you can take away. And today, by chance, there seems to be a heavy theme around collaboration and partnerships, with department stores and department store type businesses playing a frequent role in the stories today. Enjoy. John Lewis is hoping to bring more colleagues or partners to the shop floor, and they're looking to their suppliers to fund this. They're renegotiating contracts with fashion brands so they can pay the department store a lower rate of commission. But in exchange, they're going to need to provide more colleagues to work on their concession counters. The aim is that the change is justified by boosting the customer experience and therefore loyalty and spend. And thus, the revenue opportunity is more appetizing in the long run for John Lewis with reduced commission and for the supplier with increased costs. Is it worth it? Well, it sounds like it is going to be worth it. The size of the prize is forecast to be double-digit percentage growth, driving net benefits for the department store, for the supplier, and of course, let's not forget, most importantly, for customers and colleagues alike. So that's a win-win-win-win solution. Sounds good to me. But what can you take away? Well, I think for this one, if you're looking to transform, it's hugely important to recognise that nothing should be off the table. Anything is possible. Consider what would have previously been considered as a non-negotiable and work out how you can revisit that to unlock new opportunities. It would have been very easy for John Lewis to say, oh no, contracts have been negotiated and signed. We can't adjust commission and we can't adjust concession staffing. But actually what they're doing, they're going back, they're revisiting that previously non-negotiable element. So have a think. What have you taken off the table previously that perhaps needs to go back on? Selfridges are embracing the summer of sport and are looking to partnerships to help bring this to life. With the Euros football, Wimbledon tennis, and of course the Olympics, there's a lot of sport over the summer. And to celebrate, they're working with Snapchat and they've launched an AR-powered locker room feature in their iconic London flagship. The locker room features smart mirrors with a number of AR features to be able to automatically try on different kits, for example, and it's heavily integrated with Snapchat for social engagement. Snapchat's senior marketing director for EMEA, Kate Bird, said, "Sports fans are no longer just the people flooding the stadiums. There's a much larger digital audience, and new tech like AR is continually changing the way people engage with sport." But for Selfridges, it doesn't stop there. They're also collaborating with sports brand Champion with a 2-month takeover to transform their traditionally slick and smart bar, Harry Gordon's, into a classic sports bar. It features lots of retro sports memorabilia from the 1940s and the 1950s, and they're going to be live streaming events throughout the summer. And with a menu of sporting favourites like hot dogs and chicken wings, and the temptingly sounding Oreo boozy milkshake, what's not to like? So what can we learn from this news story? Selfridges have set a great and relevant theme, and they're using the collaborations to really lean into it in a much bigger way. So how could you do this? How can you set a theme and collaborate with partners, with suppliers, with other companies to say, you know what, let's really go after this theme. Let's really make it something to celebrate. TikTok Shop are running a major recruitment drive to level up the number of companies trading through the channel. They've launched the £1 Million Club, and this is an initiative looking to support businesses as they strive and work towards their first £1 million of revenue on the platform. The initiative offers a commission-free period, complimentary fulfillment services using their Fulfilled by TikTok service, and priority support. Members of the club will also gain more exposure and attention powered through TikTok ads. We know TikTok Shop is a massively growing channel, and it's important to consider how you might add TikTok as a channel into your overall mix. This is no longer a little channel, this is a big opportunity. Beauty brand Made by Mitchell recently became the first UK company to surpass £1 million of sales in a single day on the platform. And to do that, they saw a sales rate of a new sale every single minute. And let's not forget, it's growing, right? I imagine that boundary is going to be broken many, many times over the coming weeks and months. TikTok also have recently announced an accelerator program in the US to support diverse business owners and female entrepreneurs. And they're also now planning a sale to directly take on Amazon's Prime Day. So TikTok Shop are not being shy about their promotion, about their growth. So how are you taking TikTok seriously? And how can you blend content and expertise from your wider organization to really power up this initiative? You've got tons of great expertise. You've got experienced product specialists. You've got passionate consumer and customer champions. So how can you bring these people together to turbocharge your TikTok approach? Holland & Barrett are partnering with Next to open up a shop-in-shop style concession. They're running a 3-store trial over the summer, and the first one opens today. And it's going to feature a condensed range of bestsellers with around 1,000 SKUs on offer, and it really demonstrates the opportunity of retailers partnering with retailers. So if you're not already considering how you could partner with a complementary retailer, then use this as an example. I particularly love this partnership because they're making the most of the space available. Holland & Barrett want to use some extra space, and Next are using the additional revenue as well as the additional footfall and excitement to make more of their space. More partnerships now. Co-op are partnering with EG on the Move to use franchise agreements to scale up the petrol and fuel forecourts. Again, this is making the most of each side of the partnership. Co-op bring their considerable convenience store experience and are looking to expand their reach and their estate. But EG, on the other hand, face an enormous industry transformation as their fuel business switches from petrol to EV charging, and bringing on a more in-depth convenience store is part of that puzzle. So both of these companies are looking to expand through partnerships, and in particular, With this example, consider how you can share skills and capabilities as part of that partnership. Co-op are also looking to be working with Walmart Commerce Technologies to supplement the colleague experience and enable faster and more efficient online fulfillment. Walmart Commerce Technologies are providing their Store Assist feature, and this is helping Co-op to streamline their omnichannel fulfillment and order picking. And in particular, this is condensing multiple different tools, multiple different apps into one single one-stop shop, if you will. In the modern-day retail world, omnichannel operations can become increasingly complex, especially if systems have been stitched together quickly. And this can drive frustration for the user, the colleague, and it also adds a significant productivity speed bump as you have to swap and switch between different tools. So consider, how can you combine your tools with ease of use as a key design feature? Think about how you could embrace the same logic that you might look at for an e-commerce website. You're looking to minimize clicks, you're looking to speed up loading time, you're looking to make it more convenient and simpler to use. Take that same mindset and apply it to your colleague toolset. We've got a couple of big acquisitions that have been announced this week. The Danish beer brewer Carlsberg is buying UK soft drink manufacturer Britvic for £3.3 billion. That's about $4.2 billion. And this acquisition takes two already huge beverage companies and creates a combined powerhouse. Meanwhile, the retail group Hudson's Bay Company, the owners of Saks Fifth Avenue, will acquire the department store Neiman Marcus for $2.65 billion. Saks Global is going to be a new part of the group which combines these two retail assets and businesses along with the other luxury retail elements in the group. So both of these big acquisitions are important, and acquisitions are a huge growth option for many companies. But the value is more often than not delivered through successful integration and the merging of the companies. So consider, if you're growing through acquisition, how you can really unlock scale through buying better and operating smarter. What is it that you need to do to unlock the efficiencies and the cost control between a group? And even, is there benefit in creating a group of groups, a mega group, as Hudson's Bay Company are doing with the Saks Global Group? High-end department store Fortnum & Mason are launching new subscription services. The Tea Post, the Biscuit Post, the Tea Time Dispatch, and others are providing quintessential British essentials for a recurring monthly fee. Priced from around £8 up to £75 per month, the different services are part of the company's innovation pipeline. And I particularly love how Fortnum & Mason are embracing new business models, and they're experimenting with them for specific categories and product ranges. They're not rolling out across the board. And it's important to remember that not everything needs to be all singing and all dancing right from day one. So how could you experiment? How could you learn from new business models deployed to particular parts of the company? Now we're moving on to our new segment called the Insight Spotlight. And in this section, I bring you in-depth analysis and perspective on significant cultural, political, and regulatory news stories shaping our world. And of course, we've just had the UK's general election. We've got a new Prime Minister and a new government. But what is the impact of a new Labour government on the retail sector? The whole Labour manifesto and pledge was about change. And there are a number of elements that lean into change in retail. Firstly, the business rates reform. Many in the retail sector have been screaming out for business rates reform for years, and the Labour government recognised this. This is a direct quote from their manifesto. The current business rate system disincentivises investment, creates uncertainty, and places an undue burden on our high streets. In England, Labour will replace the business rate system, so we can raise the same revenue but in a fairer way. This new system will level the playing field between the high street and online giants, better incentivise investment, tackle empty properties, and support entrepreneurship. So this is going to be an interesting topic that will inevitably evoke a lot of debate in the industry and, of course, in government. It's going to be crucial to balance between physical and online retail. We've seen a number of physical retailers be really strained with their finances. And of course, many great retailers have been, unfortunately, resigned to the history books. But let's face it, online retailers aren't doing supremely well right at the moment. Some are, but many are not. So if we switch the tax burden, are we going to end up just putting many online companies out of business instead? And it gets a particularly murky and challenging situation when you start to really consider the modern omnichannel environment. Of course, it's never so clear-cut as the high street and the online giants. What about click and collect? What about order in stores? What about online returns? There's so many different factors here and many more. And by the way, as the world of omnichannel and unified commerce evolves, that's then going to get murkier, right? But I'm wondering whether we're missing a trick here. Because interestingly, retail and hospitality as well pay far more business rates as a percentage of the total country compared to the revenues that they generate. So would we be better off as an industry not squabbling between channels, but thinking bigger and seeing how we could offset business rates between industries rather than just within retail? I'm sure there's plenty of other industries that make far more sizable profits than the retail industry does. Another important element is around improving working conditions and pay, which has the flip side for a retail business of increasing labour budgets. Again, direct quote here, Labour will also make sure the minimum wage is a genuine living wage. We will change the remit of the Independent Low Pay Commission, so for the first time it accounts for the cost of living. Labour will also remove the discriminatory age bands so all adults are entitled to the same minimum wage, delivering a pay rise to hundreds of thousands of workers across the UK. So what we're going to see here is essentially a payroll budget increase. And that's going to be especially true for some companies that tend to have a younger workforce and may not be paying the full standard minimum wage across all age groups. And this is going to leave all retail companies, but especially some retail companies, really striving for cost efficiencies so they can maintain their profit rather than just hemorrhaging all of that profit into this increased payroll. So this is a bit of a watch out here, and this is one to definitely get your thinking cap on and start taking action now as to how you are going to fund this. Also thinking about people, there's a big shift to stopping 0 hours contracts. Another direct quote, Labour's plan to make work pay, delivering a new deal for working people in full. Introducing legislation within 100 days, we will consult fully with businesses, workers and civil society on how to put our plans into practice before legislation is passed. This will include banning exploitive 0 hours contracts, ending fire and rehire, and introducing basic rights from day one to parental leave, sick pay, and protection from unfair dismissal. So there are some elements here that, frankly, are just about being a good employer, right? And if we're looking after our people, we should absolutely be adhering to this already. But again, for some companies, especially those that are employing 0 hours contracts, it will impact flexibility significantly. But it sounds like we're going to start to see any potential impact very quickly over the next couple of months. It won't surprise you that retail crime has been a major issue, and Labour are saying they're going to be tackling shoplifting, but it sounds a little lukewarm to me. They've announced that they're going to be creating a new specific offence for assaults on shop workers that will protect from threats and violence. Now, this is something that was on the plan already and had already been discussed by government. So I personally feel that this is unlikely to act as a serious deterrent. We still need to be able to get through the administrative burden of all of this retail crime. We need to ensure that every party, the retail industry, as well as policing, as well as the courts, they're all doing their part to tackle this. This is not just about putting a new label on in terms of this is a new type of offence. No one is suddenly suggesting that, oh, okay, because someone has, let's say, punched a frontline colleague, that's okay, right? It's always been not okay. It's always been unacceptable. So I'm not sure how much this is going to shift, personally speaking. I know there are fans of this, so let's see. But unfortunately, that's about it. So shrink budgets are going to continue to be strained, would be my suggestion. Consumer spending and consumer confidence was, of course, going to be an important part. And the Labour manifesto suggests that they're looking to bring down the cost of energy and food to ensure that more people have more money. Well, this sounds great for retail, but of course, it's very easy to say, a lot harder and a lot more complex to do, of course, when you proverbially pop the hood and see all of the complex interactions that are going on. So it'll be very interesting to see how this materialises. So those are a few of the elements that we'll definitely be seeing from the Labour government in the UK. But let's remember, the last 5 years have shown massive volatility, massive uncertainty. And so thinking that the next 5 years are going to be plain sailing and the manifesto will be the only thing that happens, right? That's a dangerous assumption. I'm sure you could agree with me on that. So being nimble and being flexible will remain key components, key skills. And we can't rely on a government magic wand to suddenly cure all of our challenges. Instead, we need to be in control of our own destinies. And that's going to bring the most certainty in an uncertain world. So that's the end of our Insight Spotlight segment. I hope you enjoyed this little look into what the Labour government will bring to the retail sector. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do feel free to reach out. Find me on LinkedIn. My name is Oliver Banks. Now, a quick touch on one of our other segments, the shopping trip, where we take a look at a customer experience and a retail operating model that you think is best in class, that you think has something that the world can learn from. And really, this is a short little section here, and I'd like to make a call to arms. It's almost summer holiday season, and so if you are going on holiday, and if you are a bit of a retail nerd, which I'm guessing you might be, I would love to feature your holiday shopping experiences here on the Retail Show. So if you're going to be jetting off very soon, message me on LinkedIn beforehand for some details if you'd potentially be interested in taking part and if you'd perhaps like to be featured. And just before we come to the close of this episode, I would like to ask for your support. This is a brand new podcast and I would love your help to spread the word. Tell your colleagues in particular to tune in and use this to provoke discussion in your teams, at the coffee machine, or perhaps even on LinkedIn. I'd really appreciate your support to share the word about the Retail Show. It's available in all of the usual podcast apps, or you can send people to the website, theretailshow.uk. That is theretailshow.uk. Thanks so much for your help. And if you could also leave a review, that would be absolutely incredible. But I really appreciate your help to spread the word. Right. And finally, our closing segment, a good news story. And I would like to say a huge congratulations to James Timpson, the CEO of Timpsons. And I'd like to say congratulations to James Timpson because he has been appointed as Minister of Prisons as part of the new Labour government. He's resigning in his post as CEO of Timpsons. If you're not familiar with Timpsons, they're a UK service retailer offering propositions from key cutting to watch repair to shoe rehealing. And in particular, Timpsons have made headlines through the repeated willingness to trust people, hiring ex-offenders freshly released from prison and trusting them with big responsibilities in a way that no other companies have done so. And James Timpson has been a particular champion for this. And this has been hugely defining for the business. Timpson's workforce is approximately made up from 10% of people with criminal convictions. And of these convicted people, they have a retention rate of 75%, with a vast number not going on to re-offend. Now this is just fantastic for those people, but also think about the goodwill that it generates with their family, with their friends, and for many customers. And you've got this supremely loyal, thankful, grateful resource. This whole initiative began when James Timpson visited a local prison back in 2002, and he met a young man named Matt, and he instantly liked him and thought he would make an excellent addition to the Timpsons business. So when Matt was released, he got offered a job at Timpsons and he became one of the most successful branch managers. And that is what made James Timpson realise that there must be more great people in the prison sector and decided to proactively recruit ex-offenders. He believes in giving people a second chance, and he understands retail and customers. So he's undoubtedly going to be looking to the retail industry to help open the opportunity of resetting an offender's path through good work. So congratulations, James Timpson. And I look forward to seeing how, as Minister of Prisons, you continue to change our culture and our world. And thank you to you for tuning in to The Retail Show. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and I'll look forward to joining you on next week's episode. Bye for now.